morning, students. Today we are going to see about the strategies for enhancement of food production. So this is today's topic. See, with the increase in the population, the need for food is increasing. It also increases. And food, it could be of two types. Either it could be vegetarian or non-vegetarian. So if you want to increase the food requirement for the population, then animal husbandry and plant breeding these are the two fields which need to be focused. So if we focus on animal husbandry and in plant breeding, the food production can be increased so that this increased need could be satisfied. And modern technologies like embryo transfer, tissue culture, they play a major role in fulfilling this food requirement, increased food requirement. So first let us see about animal husbandry. First we will define what is animal husbandry. So animal husbandry means it is a branch of agriculture. It is a branch of agriculture which deals with the housing, feeding, breeding, and health care of livestock. Healthcare of livestock. So animal breeding is a branch of agriculture. It deals with the housing, feeding, breeding and healthcare of livestock. Okay, what is livestock? Livestock means, it means all the domesticated animals. It means all the domesticated animals, domesticated by human beings for some economic value. For some economic value. So now we have seen what is animal husbandry, what is the definition for livestock. Now let us see what the word animal in animal husbandry means. So here the word animal, it means all the cattle like cows, buffaloes, sheep, goats, horses, pigs, camels, and sometimes elephants also. So the word animal in animal husbandry means all the cattle which includes cows, buffaloes, sheep, goats, horses, pigs, camels and elephants. Apart from this, it also includes poultry and fisheries. The word fisheries it includes, it is fisheries, it includes rearing of fish, that is growing fish, and catching fish, selling fish. Not only fish, it could also be stretched to molluscans like squids and crustaceans like prawns and crabs. Apart from this, you also know that from time immemorial, we have been using honey from honeybees and silk from silkworm. Right? Okay. Now we have seen the definition for these words. Now let us see what is the need for animal husbandry now. Because India is a country where we were into agriculture for so long time, and we have many traditional techniques in agriculture. But what is the need for having this animal husbandry today? See, 70% of the livestock, they belong to India and China. 70% of the livestock, they belong to India and China. But if you see the world production, that is the contribution of India to the world market, it is only 25%. Which means that there is low production rate or low production per unit. So, in order to match the requirement of the increased population or increasing population, this has to be increased. The production per unit area has to be increased. For this reason only, we need animal husbandry and plant breeding nowadays. Right. Now let us see what is the importance of animal husbandry. What is the significance it is contributing to the society? So the significance of animal husbandry, first, it gives dairy products. It gives dairy products, which includes milk and its derivatives or the byproducts like curd, ghee, butter, yogurt. So it provides, animal husbandry, it provides these products, that is milk and its products. You see curd milk or buttermilk, it is probiotics. It contains microbes. When you take that regularly on a regular basis, there is no need of taking vitamin tablets, because those microbes which are present in the buttermilk, it will produce the vitamins required by the body. So these products are very good for health. And next, meat. It also provides meat. Meat is a dietary protein. Every organism or every human being, they need protein on a daily basis. So this protein requirement, it is not fully supported by the vegetable protein sources, because vegetable protein sources, they don't have few essential amino acids. So those amino acids have to be taken through this meat only. So meat is provided by animal husbandry, which is a dietary protein source. And then it also helps in land development. See, cattle, they help in developing arid lands. During rearing, they pass or they transmit diseases of plants from other areas into a particular area. And apart from this, cattle rearing also helps in controlling forest fire. Say for example, rearing of sheep or goat in a particular forest area which is having abundant shrubs will control the forest fire which may arise due to the fire accidents which happens in the shrubs. So, land development. And then it also provides fibers or textiles. See, these sheeps, wool producing sheeps or wool producing goats, they provide wool. And woolen textile is a very big industry because in temperate countries they will have cloths made of this wool to escape from the cold. So many animals they produce wools, and some animals they also are used in the leather industry because their dermis, it contains a lot of white fibers which helps in converting them into leather, and which could be used as a belt or shoe or gloves or like that. And next is labor. Many animals like bullocks, camel and yaks, they are used as a labor. Before the invention of steam engine, only cattle were used for pulling the engines or carts. Even in till recent past, there were many bullock carts in Tamil Nadu which were pulled by bullocks. So they also act as a labor. Even the yaks are being used for plowing the land. And the last one is fertilizer. See, these cattle's urine, they are a rich source of nitrogen. So the manure of the cattle, that is which includes the feces and the urine of these cattle, they are used as fertilizers. You might be aware of a practice in Tamil Nadu where the farmers will pay the cattle rearers to have their cattle in their land. What they will do is, ஒரு 1 டேக்கு வந்து அவங்க லேண்டில் வந்து அவங்க ஆட்டை ஃபுல்லாக அடைச்சி வச்சுருப்பாங்க, பட்டி போடுறதுன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. ஓகே, ஸோ டூரிங் தட் நைட், okay, all the urine and the feces which are let down will enrich the soil by providing nitrogen sources. For this, the farmer has to pay money to that cattle rearer. So this waste of cattle, it acts as a very good fertilizer. Next, let us see the management of farm. Before that, we will see what is management. So management means it is both a art and a science. It is both an art as well as a science, which includes combining ideas, facilities, process, materials and labor. So it is a process of combining ideas, facilities, process, material and labor to produce and market a particular product or service. Product or service. So management na enna, it is a process which combines ideas, facilities, process, materials and labor. எதுக்காக அப்படின்னா to produce a product or a service and to market it. Now let us see what this management means in animal husbandry. First let us see dairy farm management. You will see dairy farm management. So this means managing the animals. Managing the animals or the livestock to produce dairy products for human consumption. For human consumption. So dairy management means managing the animals and other sources to produce dairy products for the consumption of human beings. Right. What are the animals we can expect in a dairy farm? It will include cows and sheep, buffaloes and goat. So these are the animals we can expect in a dairy farm. Generally, cows and buffaloes, they produce more milk. They produce more milk compared to sheep and goats. They produce less milk. And the milk of cow will be yellow in color because of the presence of carotene. So because carotene is present, it gives a yellow color to cow's milk. Whereas buffalo's milk will be pure white in color because they don't have carotene. They don't have carotene. This is an important question because the question may be asked as the yellow color of the milk is produced due to the presence of dash. Options should have been given. So the answer is carotene. And suppose if a cow is fed with green fodder, that is green grass instead of dried straw. If it is fed more of green fodder, then the ghee which is produced by that cow will have a yellow color. It will have more color, yellow color. So if a ghee is yellow in color, which means that the cow which has produced that ghee has been fed with green grass. So now let us see what are the steps involved in dairy farm management. And it involves almost 5 steps. First is there are 4 essential steps which will improve the livestock. That we are going to see one by one. And then health care. This is the second step. Third is providing suitable environment. Next, resistant to disease. And last step is regular inspection. So these are the steps involved in dairy farm management. So the first step, 4 essential steps. See, why these are required? We want to increase the productivity per unit area, because we know that we have the highest number of cattle in the world, but in spite of that we are not able to contribute more than 25% to the world market. So we need to increase the yield. So in that case, there are certain basic requirements which have to be fulfilled so that the yield can be increased. Say for example, you cannot expect more milk from a cow without feeding it. Okay, so let us see what are the steps. So there are first 4 essential steps, which means which includes breeding, next weeding, and 4th feeding and heeding. These are the 4 essential steps to increase the quality of the livestock. So what is breeding? See, we should select a proper breed to which place we are going to have the farm, and which animal can grow well in that farm, and what is its pedigree, how whether it's going to give more milk or whether it is going to produce more flesh, like that. Those histories we should be aware, and we should select a proper breed. That is called as breeding. That is selecting superior quality breeds for farming. Next is weeding. See, once selected, suppose you feel that there are some members in the farm which, when bred, will not produce any economic benefits. That is, inferior quality breeds, if it is there in the farm, it should not be allowed to reproduce. So it is similar to weeding in agriculture. We remove the weeds, right? So just like that, here also, if any member of the farm is found to be uneconomic, if they reproduce, then they should not be allowed to reproduce. அதாவது inferior quality breeds இருந்துச்சுன்னா அதை reproduce பண்ணாம பார்த்துக்கணும். That is called as weeding. Next, feeding. See, proper feeding is required and it is mandatory to provide, to expect a better yield. Even though it is going to be a very good breed, if it is not fed well, then you cannot expect very good yield. So feeding, it should be of the proper mix. The diet should be balanced, the diet should be hygienic without compromising the quality of the feed. It has to be given, and on time, on the way it has to be given, it should be given. So that is called as feeding. And then heeding. Heeding means the general taking care of the animal. We need to watch the animal. If there is any symptoms for a particular disease, it has to be taken care immediately. Suppose if you feel the animal is gasping a lot because of increase in temperature, then immediately cooling has to be done. Such kind of care, they come under heeding. So these are the first 4 initial steps to improve the quality of the livestock. Next, healthcare. See, the WHO says that being healthy means it should be a total well-being of physical, mental and social well-being. Okay, if a person is supposed to be healthy, the definition given by WHO is he should be physically, mentally and socially in a better condition. It doesn't mean just absence of disease. So if a cattle is healthy, it will eat properly, so it will grow properly, it will reproduce at the correct time, and lactation will start, and lactation will be at a much larger scale. So taking care of the health of the cattle is very important in dairy management. And next is suitable environment, which means that the place where the farm is located it should be hygienically maintained. So there should be proper space for ventilation, there should be proper sunlight, good quality water, aeration, and there should be proper drainage. All these things should be there for suitable environment. Next is disease, resistant to disease. If a cattle is well fed, and if health care is taken, and if the suitable environment is provided, there is less likely chance to get disease. Even though if the cattle get the disease, it will be able to resist the disease. And apart from that, if there is a disease which the cattle could not handle, if its immunity could not handle, then it is the responsibility of us to give proper medication and regular inspection which is needed. Because to maintain all this quality, it should be a daily routine. We cannot say that you do it last week, so after that we didn't do, okay, you cannot expect the results. So daily these things have to be done. So for that, the record note has to be kept. So whether daily feeding has been done, whether daily cleaning has been done, whether all medications have been given daily, whether all excreta has been removed daily. So there should be a record, and it has to be supervised regularly. So it needs regular inspection. So these are the dairy farm management steps. So in toto, or in a gist, we can say that to increase the quality or potentiality of livestock, there are three things. One is to increase the genetic makeup, and then to provide good feed, and third, good environment. So these three will increase the potency of the livestock. And the project which aimed at increasing the milk production, it is called as, just like green revolution, this is called as white revolution, and the father of white revolution is Dr. Verghese Kurian, right? Next we will see about the management of poultry farm. So poultry farm management. What is the meaning of poultry? See, poultry in general, it means the domesticated birds. Which are raised by humans for some economic purposes. So this poultry in general, it includes chicken, turkey, ducks, geese, swan, guinea fowl, peafowl, all these things. In India, poultry is more about chicken. That is production of chick for eggs as well as for meat. Though ducks are also produced, ducks eggs are also produced, ducks meats are used as food, but that's in a limited scale only. So major part it goes to chicken in India. Okay, why poultry is important? What is the significance? What is the contribution of poultry to the society? First, if you see the significance, poultry is they produce eggs. You know that egg is the cheapest protein source in the world. Egg is the cheapest protein source. The egg's price varies from 3 to 5 rupees depending upon the demand and supply. But if you see how much you are paying per gram of protein, it will be much lesser for a egg. So if a children is having if there is a malnourished children and if the family is not able to afford for protein source like mutton or fish, then they can go for egg, which is very cheap, which will actually compensate the protein requirement for that child. So egg is produced, which is supplied by the poultry, and then chicken, meat. So chicken meat, again it is a protein source which is also available at a much lower cost. So these two things are supplied by poultry, and it increases the revenue for the farmer. It increases the revenue for the farmer. Suppose if a farmer is having a crop, it will take months for the farmer to get his invested money back. Suppose if he does paddy cultivation, he has to wait for months to get the money back. But as a side business, if he is going to have a poultry farm, then from the poultry farm he will be getting regular yield, which he can make it as cash. He will get chicken as well as egg. So this increases the revenue of the farmers. And apart from that, the manure, that is the fecal droppings of the chicken, they are rich in nitrogenous substances. So they are used as a fertilizer for the farms. And apart from that, even in the cultivation of button mushrooms, in the process of preparing the substrate for the mushroom, this chicken manure is used. And feathers of chicken are also having significance. Nowadays they are being used in the preparation of feeds for cattle, because the feathers, they contain proteins which are being digested and it is converted into a feed. So feathers also they contribute. And apart from this, recreation. There are many fancy chickens which are used for recreation purposes, which have different kinds of tails, colors, multicolored. Apart from that, cockfighting, it's a traditional thing which was happening in India. Of course, it is being banned nowadays. But still, you can see many people who are raising cocks for the purpose of cockfighting. So these are all the contributions of poultry to the society. Now let us see how the poultry farm is managed. So just like the steps what we have seen for dairy management, here also there are some steps. The first step is selecting the proper breed. Selecting the proper breed. This is the first step, because based on the climatic conditions, we need to select which breed will grow well in that area. And moreover, based on for what purpose we are going to have the poultry farm. That is, few people would like to have a poultry farm to produce eggs, and somebody else may be interested in producing chicken for meat. So based on the purpose, the breed has to be selected, and during selecting the breed, a superior quality breed has to be selected, which may include disease resistance, faster growth, faster reproduction. These are all the qualities which are needed for, or which are regarded as superior quality. And if you see, for egg production, the breed Leghorn, white Leghorn is preferred. Either it may be exactly white Leghorn or maybe a species of that. It is preferred for egg production. And for meat production, Plymouth Rock, New Hampshire, and the derivatives are preferred for meat. So this is the first step which involves selecting the proper breed. And the second step is the brood house. Brood house. So there should be a particular space where the chicken could be kept. So this brood house should protect the chicken from predators. The predators should not be able to get access into the brood house, and it should protect the chicken from rain. It should not be overcrowded. So there should be space, enough space for the chicken to move around, and it should protect from, it should also have provision for ventilation. Okay, so the brood house should have these facilities. It should protect the chicken from predators, it should protect the chicken from rain, and there should be enough space for the chicken to move around, and then there should be provision or wire mesh which allows the ventilation. So the third step in the management is hygiene. Hygiene is very much essential in poultry farming because the disease spreads in such a rapid rate. In the evening, if you find one chick which is unhealthy, if you leave it, in the next morning you can expect 20-30 chickens found lying dead. So maintaining hygiene is topmost priority in poultry farming. So how this is done? Proper cleaning, has to be done, and drainage, proper drainage has to be provided in the farm to remove the unwanted things, and the vessels which are used for providing the feed, which are called as the feeders need to be cleaned properly. All these they contribute to hygiene. And then chicken care. See, right from day one, care has to be given to the chicken. Just on the arrival of the 1-day-old chicken from the farm, it has to be provided with sweet water, the water will contain approximately 50 grams of glucose per liter. So 50 grams of glucose per liter, this has to be given, and for the first 24 to 28 hours the feed will have maize. Maize will be given as a feed, and after 24 to 28 hours complete feed has to be given. Complete feed has to be given. And for vitamins, vitamins should be dissolved in the drinking water where the chickens are going to have their water. In that water, vitamins has to be dissolved. So these are the third and fourth steps in the management of poultry. And fifth step is proper nutrition. Proper nutrition should be provided, which means that the food should be in a balanced manner, which should include carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins and minerals in a proper manner. It should be a balanced diet. Next is light. Minimum 14 to 16 hours of light has to be given to the chicken. Why it is required? Because see, you know that we sleep in the night and we woke up in the early morning, and mainly the sunlight, it decides this behavior, this diurnal behavior. And as far as human beings are concerned, the light enters through the eyes. Whereas in chicken, apart from the eyes, there is a pineal gland in the just above the forehead of the chicken. Through that pineal gland, the light enters into the head, it reaches the pituitary gland and it stimulates the hypothalamus. So, in chicken, this light which is passing through the pineal gland, it stimulates the immune system, it stimulates the rhythm in the sleeping pattern, it stimulates the chicken to produce eggs. So, immunity, growth and egg production, everything is stimulated by this light which is entering through the pineal gland. So, this is the reason why 14 to 16 hours of light has to be provided for chicken. And then summer care. Summer care. See, chickens, they have feathers. So, these feathers will protect the chickens during winter, during cold condition, the chickens will be able to tolerate. But high temperature, suppose if the temperature is rising, chickens, they don't have sweat glands like us to sweat and to reduce the body temperature. So, what happens if the temperature goes beyond a particular range, the chicken will die. So, in order to take care of this, enough water has to be kept in the poultry farm and proper aeration need to be maintained. So, chickens are more susceptible for high temperature rather than low temperature. So, summer care has to be taken to maintain the optimal temperature in the poultry farm. And then winter care. Winter care, normally as I said earlier, chickens are able to handle the low temperature, but it is recommended to ensure that the temperature doesn't goes beyond or below 15 degrees C, because below 15 degree the chicken will suffer to cope up with the temperature. So, these are the steps involved in the poultry management. Now, let us see what are all the diseases happening for chicken. So, first we will see the viral diseases of chicken. First is the Rannicate disease. It is also called as Newcastle disease. Newcastle disease. It is caused by a virus which is called as paramyxovirus. Paramyxovirus. And the symptoms includes coughing, sneezing and droopiness. So, the symptoms includes coughing, sneezing and droopiness. The next disease is Marek's disease. Marek's disease is caused by a virus which is called as a herpes virus. It is called by the herpes virus, which will lead to paralysis of the bird and finally to the death of the bird. Mareks disease. It leads to paralysis and finally death of the bird. Next is avian encephalitis. AE, in short it is called as AE. It is caused by a virus which is called as the picornavirus. It is caused by the picornavirus. And here what happens, see, this virus is also called as the tremor virus. Tremor. Because it leads tremors in the neck of the bird. The bird will be twitching its neck like this. And finally it gets paralyzed and it will die. So this is AE. And then fowl pox. Fowl pox. This is caused by the pox virus. This is caused by the pox virus, where blisters, just like in human beings, blisters will appear in whichever the place there is no feather, maybe in the neck, or just above the leg part, you can see the blisters. So these are all the viral diseases caused in chicken. Now next let us see about the bacterial diseases caused in chicken. So the bacterial diseases are, first is pullorum disease. It is also called as white bacillary diarrhea. White bacillary diarrhea. This is one disease. And then infectious coryza. Infectious coryza and spiroketosis. So these are the three important bacterial diseases of poultry. This pullorum, it is caused by a bacteria which is called as Salmonella pullorum. It is caused by Salmonella pullorum, and the symptoms include depression, anorexia, and white color diarrhea. White color diarrhea. Coming to infectious coryza, this is one of the most infectious. See, the name itself is infectious. Suppose one bird is having, okay, within 2-3 hours you can see 100 birds having. Okay, so infectious coryza, it is caused by Haemophilus paragallinarium. Haemophilus paragallinarium. Here what happens is the symptoms includes discharges from the nostrils and eyes. So there will be discharges from the nostrils. If you see the bird, it will be hanging its head like this, and from the nostril there will be drippings, and from the eyes there will be drippings as if the bird is crying, and the face will get bulged. The face, it gets bulged. Next, spiroketosis. In spiroketosis, the disease is caused by a spirochete which is called as Borrelia. It is caused by Borrelia. It is transmitted by a tick. There is a tick involved which transmit the disease from one bird to another bird. And the symptoms, it includes depression, anorexia, and the face and neck regions will become somewhat blue in color, which is called as cyanosis. The face and neck region, it becomes blue in color, which is called as cyanosis. So bacterial disease, only 3 diseases we have seen, that is pullorum, infectious coryza, and spirochetes. Next we will see about the fungal diseases. So the fungal diseases in poultry. There are 2 diseases. One is aspergillosis, and the other is mycosis. Aspergillosis is caused by a fungi which is called as Aspergillus flavus. Aspergillus flavus. Here, this fungus, it affects the respiratory system of the bird. It affects the respiratory system of the bird. So the symptoms include dyspnea, dyspnea means difficulty in breathing. So if the bird is not able to breathe well, the feeding will be lesser. Okay, the feeding will be lesser, so the bird will lose weight. So there will be weight loss also. Next, mycosis. Mycosis is caused by a fungi which is called as Candida albicans. Candida albicans. It generally affects the upper part of the digestive system. It affects the upper part of the digestive system. Here what happens is the bird will be sleeping always. The bird will be always sleeping, and because of that the laying of eggs will be reduced. The dropping of eggs will be reduced. So this is about fungal disease. We have seen 2 diseases. One is aspergillosis caused by Aspergillus flavus. It affects mainly the respiratory system, and it causes, the symptoms include dyspnea, there will be weight loss. Next is mycosis. It is also called as thrush. This disease is also called as thrush. It is caused by Candida albicans. It affects the upper digestive tract, and you can see the chicken always sleeping, and the egg production is reduced. Next we will see about the protozoan diseases. The protozoan disease. The name of the disease is coccidiosis. This is caused by a group of protozoan. It is caused by a group of protozoan. And it mainly affects the intestine. It mainly affects the intestine. Since I said that it is a group of protozoa, almost all the parts of the intestine are affected by different types of protozoa. Because it is a group, there will be different types of protozoa, and each protozoa will be affecting some part of the intestine. So that's about protozoan disease. The next is diseases due to deficiency of nutrients. Deficiency of nutrients. See, here we can see 2 important deficiency symptoms. One is encephalopathia Malaysia, and so encephalomalacia, it is caused by the deficiency of vitamin E, which will lead to degeneration of the brain. Degeneration of the brain. Because of that, the gait means the walking style. The bird will not have proper walking. There will not be coordination, so the bird will not walk straight. It will walk in a abnormal manner. So, because of the damage in the brain. So, this is caused by vitamin E deficiency. In Cirrhosis, it is caused by manganese deficiency. This one is caused by manganese deficiency. It is, the symptoms involve the junction between the tibio and the metatarsal. Swelling will be there. So, it is the ankle part of the bird where the tibio and the metatarsal, they join. Okay. So, if this is the leg, so this is the tibio metatarsal part. It gets swollen, so the bird finds difficulty in walking and feeding. Next, we will see about the different breeds of poultry. First, we will see the Desi breeds, which means the Indian breeds. It includes Asil, Tennis, and Karaknath, Talisheri, Kalahasti, Naked Neck, Low Lab. All these are Indian breeds. There are many breeds, just I have mentioned few important breeds. And next we will see about the American breeds. The American breeds, as I have already said, Plymouth Rock, and New Hampshire, Jersey Black Giant, So, these are the American varieties, breeds of chicken. Next, we will see about the Asian variety. This includes Brahma and Cochin. These are the Asian varieties. Then we will see about the English breeds. That is from UK. It includes Sussex, Red Cap, Cornish. So, that is about the breeds. Next, we are going to see about the animal breeding in the next class.